here we are. Here's that rusty cylinder head bolt hole. Right now I just filled it with vinegar. And how I did that was with an old turkey baster, and this was what was laying around, donated to me. So I don't know if distilled or white or apple cider is going to work. It's all about 5% acidity, so we'll see. The other thing I did, God, I hope I can get this thing off. Anyway, let's just say you can see the rusty bolt in there. Yeah, I gotta do this right, but getting this off with one hand. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to take my word for it. So I put all the head bolts in here, and the rusty one at the far right side you can see there. And we'll see how that comes out, because that's a pain in the butt. We don't want rust. Here's what I was thinking. I was really worried that the head had cracked. And, well, let's take you over to the head real quick. Sorry for all the back and forth. I'm moving as slow as I can. It's this one here, third one up from the thermostat housing. 1, 2, 3. And I looked inside the cooling holes. I looked all around. There's not even a sign of a crack. And I've got some the 2-part spray dye I'm going to double check it with. Actually, we're going to do the whole head with it. Separate video. Right now you can see the leftover WD-40 after I cleaned it. It holds back the rust really nice. But anyway, I don't think it's the head. This is an 88 head. They don't tend to crack, but I think what happened, because remember, this engine's never been apart before. It's original to 1988, so this is a factory defect. I think what happened is the very first hole here, bolt hole for the head, is the one that you have to put sealer on the threads for, because it goes down into the water jacket. So, you know, that water jacket isn't just here, it's just up high here. It goes all the way around. And I'll bet you from the factory, when they were drilling and or tapping that hole, they either penetrated into the jacket or cracked it. Because that bolt, as you've seen in previous videos, was absolutely solidly rusted. So I think it's the block. So I'm going to put thread seal on this one here too. But first we got to get everything clean. And no, I still haven't gotten the pan out from under the vehicle, so we'll see how that goes. Another thing I figured out, yeah, I guess we're going back. Another thing I figured out is if you remember the buildup on the valve, there's a nice big stripe on the valve. Well, I think what it does is, since the injector sits right here and aims right at the center of the intake valve, that single pintle fuel injector sprays a fine line, and it carboned up on that valve, on all of them actually, all the intakes. I think that's what caused that carboning. So going to a 4-pintle, 4-port, whatever you want to call it, fuel injector, I think is the right answer. So we're going to do that for this reassembly when that time comes. But it was interesting. I've never seen anybody else with a Jeep talk about that, so maybe other people have had that experience. Anyway, so the head is just about prepped. I got to do the 3 angles on it. The valves are all sitting up here. We're out of the way, clean, and I was actually thinking about back cutting the intakes. I'm not going to touch the exhaust, but back cutting the intakes for a little tiny bit more flow. But you know, I want torque. I don't really care about horsepower. low RPM torque for what I do and where I live is far more valuable. Anyway, that's what we know. The other part of the mystery is this is the hole that had the rusty hole in it, and it didn't show any broken gasket, so I don't think that's the culprit. That's it. See you, bye.